Suedly hailed by fans as the monster of Chinese boxing, is a living testament to the raw power of persistence, grit, and an unshakable dream. A fighter whose story begins far from the blinding lights of championship arenas, in the modest streets of Fuzhou, Jiangxi province, where the sweet scent of fresh pastries from his parents' bakery mixed with the sharper aroma of ambition. Born on March 9, 1994, Su grew up not in a family of athletes, but among hard-working artisans who shaped dough and dreams with equal care. And yet his father, seeing a spark of restless energy in his young son, chose to channel it into boxing, a sport still finding its footing in China at the time, meaning that the young Su's early path was defined by long hours in modest gyms, worn-out gloves, and the absence of the kind of elite training facilities his Western counterparts enjoyed. In those formative years, Su learned the most important lesson of his career: not that boxing is about brute strength, but that it is about discipline, patience, and the relentless will to endure. And endure he did, turning professional in November 2013 with a debut that showed flashes of the volume punching, footwork, and stamina that would later become his signature. Though in those early fights he was still learning the hard truths of the pro ranks. Over the next few years, fighting both domestically and abroad, Su built a record the slow way, accepting bouts that tested his conditioning and chin. And while not every contest ended in his favor, every loss was dissected in the gym until it yielded lessons that would serve him later. His dedication catching the eye of Max Power Promotions, who would guide him onto the biggest stages. The breakthrough came on January 26, 2019. In Houston, Texas, where Su faced the formidable Jesus Rojas for the WBA regular featherweight title. About few outside his homeland expected him to win, yet in 12 rounds of blistering pain, Su's punch output bordered on the superhuman. He outworked and outlanded the Puerto Rican champion, earning a unanimous decision and in doing so becoming only the third Chinese boxer to hold a major world title. A victory that reverberated back home, inspiring a new wave of young fighters and earning Su the nickname Monster for his relentless, almost inhuman engine. His reign was anything but passive. Within months, Su defended his title against Shun Kubo in Fuzhou, delivering a 6th-round TKO that sent his hometown crowd into delirium, then followed it up with a dominant unanimous decision over Manny Robles III in California, a performance that further solidified his reputation as a volume punching machine. Negotiations with IBF featherweight champion Josh Warrington promised a unification bout that could have been historic, but when that fell through, Su stayed active, defeating challengers and keeping his name in the conversation among the division's elite. Yet boxing's narrative is never a straight climb. July 31, 2021. In Brentwood, England, Su met Lee Wood, a hungry challenger who seized his opportunity in the championship rounds, stunning Su with a 12th-round TKO that ripped the belt from his waist and marked his first stoppage loss. A moment that left Su not just beltless but questioning his future in the sport, admitting later that the defeat shook me to my core and made him consider walking away. The months that followed were a crucible of doubt and injury, culminating in a split-decision loss to Brandon Benitez in 2022, a result that seemed to signal the closing of his competitive window. But true champions are not defined by the easy nights, and Su, refusing to let his legacy end on a whisper, returned to the gym with renewed purpose, refining his defense, sharpening his combinations, and recommitting to the brutal conditioning that had once made him an unstoppable force. That dedication bore fruit on December 14, 2024, in the Bahamas, where Su faced Colombia's Jonathan Arenas for the vacant IBO International Super Featherweight title, a fight in which Su weathered early aggression before breaking his opponent down with sustained bodywork, forcing a 9th-round stoppage and announcing to the boxing world that the monster was back, now with a 22-4 record, 5 wins by knockout, and a reputation as one of the sport's most tireless pressure fighters. Su stands on the brink of another career-defining moment. August 15, 2025, in Beijing, China, his first defense of the IBF International Super Featherweight crown against France's Jaouad Belmehdi, a dangerous challenger with a 3 January 23 record and 11 knockouts to his name. Known for his explosive power and fearless approach, the stakes are enormous. Not only is Su fighting to keep his title, but also to cement his place in history as China's first 2-division world champion and to prove once again that his relentless style can overcome youth, power, and doubt. The build-up to the bout has been electric, with Su telling reporters that every punch I throw on August 15th will carry the weight of my journey, while Belmehdi, unfazed by the home crowd advantage, has promised to shock Beijing and take the belt back to France. Training in Beijing under the watchful eye of his longtime coach, Su is focused on tightening his defense, increasing his head movement, and perfecting the sustained combination punching that drowns opponents in a sea of leather, a style that forces them into survival mode long before the final bell. And as the fight night approaches, the storylines converge. This is not just a title defense. It is a battle for legacy, a test of endurance against explosiveness, of methodical pressure against sudden violence. And when the bell rings in Beijing, gleaming arena, the crowd roaring, the lights blazing, and millions watching around the world, Kansu will carry into that ring not only his gloves and title, but the weight of every sparring round in a dusty gym, every lonely morning run, every hand wrap soaked in sweat and hope, and whether the fight ends in another decision master or in a dramatic stoppage. The story of Kansu, the boy from the bakery who became the monster of Chinese boxing, will remain one of the sport's most inspiring sagas, a testament to the truth that champions are made not only in the ring, but in the long, unseen grind that shapes an ordinary man into something extraordinary. Jaouad Belmehdi burst onto the professional boxing scene with a ferocious blend of raw power and relentless ambition, carving a path from the heart of Béziers, France, where the echoes of his dojo origins fueled the fire of a warrior born March 11, 1998, to the global stage with a record now standing at an imposing 2-3-1-3, including 11 stoppages, a testament to his blend of precision and devastation from his youth. Belmehdi trained in martial arts before discovering boxing at just 10 years old, a passion that would morph into an insatiable drive to become the second-ever Moroccan pro world champion since his pro debut in November 2017. He's faced a relentless string of opponents absorbing lessons in every frame, from early draws and decisions to emphatic knockouts, most notably knocking out Gary Cully in just 35 seconds at Wembley Arena in London on October 29, 2022, electrifying burst that introduced the world to his explosive capabilities. BoxRec. He followed that with a brutal first-round TKO over Marcos Gabriel Martinez for the vacant WBC Francophone Super Featherweight title on May 25, 2024. His fists, thunderous silhouettes painting a statement of dominance. On March 2, 2024, in Abu Dhabi, he edged out Alfred Lamte in a tactical 10-round split decision, showcasing not only his power but also his tactical adaptability and composure under pressure. In December 2024, he continued his precision onslaught, with a fifth-round retirement win over Facundo Arki in front of his home crowd and Béziers' body blows, laying the groundwork for his methodical dismantling of foes. His most recent performance came on April 26, 2025, when he demolished Ernesto Martinez with a brutal fourth-round TKO in a hometown bout at LA for Oshawa, visceral reminder that his fists spoke louder than words. Now poised for the biggest bout of his career, August 15, 2025 in Beijing, against Kansu, China's renowned monster Belmehdi is not just chasing a title, he's chasing history, legacy, and the chance to become the undeniable super featherweight king in a high-stakes collision between explosiveness and pressure, aggression and endurance, where only the bold will survive.